I love the outdoors as a young child. I distinctly remember I was 3, 4 years old, and we were leaving for a fishing trip the next day. And I didn't even know what fishing was, but I was mesmerized by my dad's tackle box and the lures and the colors. And we went up to northern Wisconsin, and I remember the sensations of the loons and the smell of the pine trees, and I loved getting out in the boat. And it just resonated with me at a very young age. As a kid, we weren't very good fishermen. We kind of stumbled through it. I spent more time fixing gear and untangling my fishing line, but I think that actually sparked a motivation to learn more. I just tried to fill my head with knowledge and learn as much as I could. And at some point, things started to click, and I started to catch more fish and start to understand what the fish were doing. And so I try to pass that on to my students as well. I actually started a fishing team in 2006, and that was before the IHSA even had a state tournament put together. And I would take kids to different lakes throughout the state. In 2007 or 8, the IHSA made an announcement that they were going to start actual IHSA fishing as an activity. And so I was on the first ad hoc committee that helps develop the rules, put together the groundwork for what's currently been happening for the last 10, 11, 12 years. In the fall of 2009, the Marmion coach, Joe Large, and myself ran the first tournament in the state of Illinois. It was a fall tournament. It was at Lake Shabanaw. We had about 25 boats. We were kind of stumbling through how to do this, and it was a great event. And we've continued to host that event, every single year. In fact, we expanded to a fall tournament and a spring tournament. But in those early years, there just weren't a lot of tournaments out there. And now it's really expanded. In 2020, I was voted president of the Illinois Bass Fishing Coaches Association, which basically it was a group of coaches that started an association to give kids more opportunities to fish. And so we wanted to start an actual tournament trail that could really get the kids out on the water, that was all throughout the whole state, not just up in the northeast or down in the south, but everywhere. And so the IBFCA started in 2020, and we now have over 400 or close to 400 members. In the first year, which was a COVID year, we had just shy of 250 boats fish our events. And so we had tournaments all over the state. We had a state tournament championship, which qualified teams to the national championship for Bassmasters. And then we also gave away scholarship money to the kids that finished well in the tournaments. So that's probably my biggest contribution. My YouTube channel just started out of, it'd be a Tuesday morning, and I'm about to teach class, and I get an email from a coach in Central Illinois about, hey, how'd you start your team? What do you do in your practices? And I realized, maybe I should just start a YouTube channel and start teaching how to do these things, so that when people email me, I can just send them the link and say, here you go. And I also created the YouTube channel because as a high school coach, you've got kids currently revolving through your system. You've got new freshmen every single year. And so you're teaching the same thing over and over, how to tie knots, how to do this. And so the YouTube channel that I created was largely to direct my kids to that and say, okay, you need to watch these 5 videos first before you should do anything else. And it's now just broadened and expanded. Kids at my school, and I think a lot of other schools, a lot of kids that come out for fishing aren't involved in other sports or other clubs for the most part. And so it may be the only activity that they do in their whole high school career. I had a student in my class, in a freshman biology class, who was on the autism spectrum. And super nice kid, and he needed to get hooked into something. Over his 4 years, and by his senior year, he was a team leader. He was very well liked. Most of his friends were from the fishing team. And he decided to go into education when he got done with high school because of the things that he was involved in. And I think the fishing team was a big part of that for that one individual. Probably my biggest contribution is teaching youth, teaching kids about the outdoors and learning to appreciate it and understand that it is a resource that is somewhat limited, so you need to take care of it and appreciate it. And I've done that through the fishing team that I created at Batavia High School. What a great honor to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. You know, I didn't do any of this to try to get notoriety. It was all about just helping kids appreciate the outdoors, helping kids maybe get hooked on something that'll keep them out of trouble in another way. That's really what it's all about, giving kids more opportunities to do these kinds of things.